An honor and privilege to have you guys joining me here today as we talk about our favorite things in the world, movies, movie news, television, a little bit of video games today and how they relate to movies. And we've got a lot of stuff to get to today. So we're going to jump right in to our main topics today. How do we select our main topics around here on the John Campea Show? It's real simple. You guys select the main topics by emailing them into me to john@thejohncampeashow.com. Email me your topics and questions to john@thejohncampeashow.com. Make sure you put the word topic in the subject line. And of course, guys, as always, keep those emails to 90 words or less. So let's get to the first email today. And the first email today comes to us from David Morse, who writes, "Hi, John. I know you've grown tired of talking about MoviePass, haven't we all? But I had to know what you thought about the news that they aren't moving ahead with another reverse stock split and will probably now get delisted from the NASDAQ. Is this the final moments for MoviePass at last?" All right, thanks a lot for the question, man. And yeah, MoviePass has been a real, let's be kind. MoviePass has been a very interesting roller coaster ride, right? Now, first of all, let's be clear. MoviePass did not invent the idea of a movie-going membership. That was done by Cineworld over in the UK almost 10 years ago. So MoviePass did not come up with this idea. But they are the ones who made it popular in the United States and in North America. And they've been going through a lot of turmoil, ups and downs. Well, where was the fundamental problem with MoviePass? There's a few things to talk about, but we'll get to those in a second. What he's talking about right now, though, is that MoviePass, their stock has slid again to under 2 cents, right? At one point, it was at like $60. If you count the 250 to 1 reverse stock split, it was at like $1,000. I don't even know how much it was per share, and now it's hovering just over 1 penny a share. Now, when MoviePass stock dropped to under $1 a number of months ago, they talked about doing a reverse stock split, and they did do a reverse stock split. They did a 1 to 250 stock split, which basically means if you have 250 shares, you now have 1 share. And that artificially increased the value of the stock to up to around $30 again, but immediately dropped again down to, like I said, just over 1 cent. So what MoviePass has been talking about is doing another reverse stock split of a 1 to 500 reverse stock split on top of that 1 to 250 stock split to again artificially inflate the price of their stock. The reason they were looking at doing this is because the NASDAQ, which is kind of like the stock listings, they have a rule. If your stock doesn't stay above $1 a share, you could get delisted from the stock exchange. That's bad for your company. Well, the news he is talking about is the fact that it's now come out that the shareholders apparently of MoviePass and Helios and Matheson, which is their parent company, have rejected the notion of doing yet another reverse stock split. This means they are most likely now going to get delisted off the stock exchange. This is terrible news for this company, and this could ultimately be kind of the last signs of life of MoviePass at this point. But you know what? Let's not pretend that it's the only drama going on with MoviePass. MoviePass has several items of drama going on right now. First of all, their stock is, as I've said, under 2 cents. The stock is listed, last I checked, it was hovering at 1.6 cents per share. Not $1.6 thousand per share, not even $1.6 per share, 1.6 cents per share. Now, that is leading to the next bit of drama where it is now inevitable in December, this company is going to get delisted off the stock exchange, which puts them in a real bind. It puts them in a real bind. The other bit of drama going on with them, though, is right now, the New York State Attorney General is investigating MoviePass for fraud. And on top of that, a number of shareholders of MoviePass are suing the company for giving them misleading and erroneous information. So everywhere you look with MoviePass, everything is kind of gray, cloudy skies. Everything is bad. Now, of course, how did this all start? Where does this drama really come from? Bad business practices, a few little key mistakes here and there. when you really look back on it, the big mistake that MoviePass ultimately made, which is why a lot of people like myself and others started to say why MoviePass was not going to be a viable company. And that was simply this. MoviePass's $10 a month plan, which is what they came out of the gates with, for unlimited movies, you knew, I knew, and more importantly, the company knew, was simply not sustainable. They knew that. They knew well in advance it was not sustainable. Well, why do they do it? This is why they did it, and this is where the key problem lay, and why I've always had a problem with MoviePass once their intentions became clear. This was a company whose basic business model was blackmail. That was their basic business model. You see, they knew right from the beginning that $10 a month for unlimited movies was never going to be sustainable. They knew that. That wasn't their plan. Their plan right from the beginning was not to make money off their customers, which is how most healthy businesses make their money. No, their business plan right from the beginning was shady and underhanded. It was, let's amass this massive user base. Let's amass this incredibly large subscriber base and then use that subscriber base to essentially, in mafioso terms, strong arm and blackmail movie studios and movie theaters and force them to do business with us. They wanted to force and strong arm movie theaters into cutting MoviePass into their action. They wanted a percentage of the movie ticket sales, and they wanted a percentage of the concession stands. That was their plan all along. Their plan all along was, hey, they knew they couldn't make money. They lied about it because whenever they asked the CEO of MoviePass, hey, how do you plan to make money? Oh, we're confident that with volume and everything. No. They lied. Their plan was always to make money by blackmailing other companies into giving them portions of their money. It was a shaky, shady, unsustainable, and underhanded business model right from the beginning. And when theaters like AMC and Regal kind of said, no, screw you. Look, if you want to do, remember right from the beginning, AMC as a theater chain, and I used to work with AMC, but AMC as a theater chain sent off alarm bells right away saying, folks, this company is lying to you. This company is not sustainable. They're going to set up something that they can never deliver, and we don't want to do business with them. And it turned out they were absolutely right. Because their business model from the very beginning was underhanded and shady. And they're getting what underhanded and shady companies deserve to get. Was the dream of $10 a month, $10 for unlimited movies, a nice dream? Sure. But you got to build nice dreams on sustainable ideas. And that's simply not what MoviePass did. And now what do we got? Their shares tank. Nobody wants to buy them. They're being investigated for fraud. They're being sued by their own shareholders. That was the inevitable outcome of this whole thing. And even now, if you still have a MoviePass subscription, you get to see maybe one movie that they tell you can see at like 3:21 in the afternoon when you're at work. I mean, it's just some ridiculous, useless thing. So what we are seeing happening now has been inevitable for a long time. And yeah, I know we're in November. I still don't think this company lasts into 2019. They may surprise me, and they may get to February, or March, or April, maybe even May. But right now, I don't even think they make it into 2019. And you know what? Good riddance. Good riddance. See you later. Bye-bye. Anyway, let's move on now to email number 2. And email number 2 comes to us from Dmitry Mikhailov, who writes, did I miss something? Godzilla 2 is still 6 months away, but I read that Godzilla vs. Kong just started shooting. Aren't they getting a little ahead of themselves? What happens if Godzilla is a flop? All right, thanks a lot for the email, Dimitri. And no, you didn't miss anything, and you didn't misread that. Even though Godzilla 2 is still a ways off and not going to be in theaters for quite a while, they have started principal photography on Godzilla vs. Kong. They have started the movie. The reports are out. You can see it online now. Godzilla versus Kong is now officially shooting. Now, I actually saw some tweets yesterday complaining about this news because there are some people claiming that this news that came out that they've started shooting Godzilla versus Kong is a blatant spoiler for Godzilla 2. It's a blatant spoiler for Godzilla 2 because they're saying, now we know Godzilla doesn't die in Godzilla 2. And all you can do is smack your head a little bit, right? Like, did you really think Godzilla was going to die in Godzilla 2? And we knew Godzilla versus Kong was coming. But at any rate, yes, they have started shooting it, giving it that whole tangibilization, there's that word I made up, about the whole Kong versus Godzilla movie. It is coming, and I'm really excited to see it. We talked about the cast the other day. They've lined up a really impressive cast. They're going balls to the wall in this movie, and I think it's going to end up being a lot of fun, just like I think Godzilla 2 is going to end up being a lot of fun. Will it? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see till we actually get there. So, but it's not just the news that they've started shooting this movie that's come out. The news has actually come out that they've actually got a synopsis for this movie right now. There's a synopsis. They put out an official story synopsis for Godzilla vs. Kong, and here's what it is. In a time when monsters walk the earth, humanity's fight for its future sets Godzilla and Kong on a collision course that will see the two most powerful forces of nature on the planet collide in a spectacular battle for the ages. As Monarch, that's the human organization in these movies, as Monarch embarks on a perilous mission into uncharted terrain and unearths clues to the Titans' origins, a human conspiracy threatens to wipe the creatures, both good and bad, from the face of the earth forever. So, what it seems like when we read this synopsis is like we're getting a little bit of a Batman versus Superman thing. These two colossal Titan heroes, they're going to do battle, but ultimately at the end, they're going to have their version of Doomsday, and they're going to have to come together and fight together to save the future for the human race. I mean, that's clearly what's coming on here, right? We are clearly getting a scenario here where we're going to have these monsters. They're fighting because of some misunderstanding. Godzilla's going to find out that Kong's mother's name is also Martha. Then some other giant monster is going to show up that threatens the whole world. We'll call it Doomsday 2. And Kong and Godzilla are going to look at each other, give each other the bro high five, and then they're going to go and fight the big monster together, right? I mean, that's what's going to happen. And you know what? It's really formulaic, and I don't care. I like it. Yes, as I'm saying it, it sounds ridiculous. As I'm saying it, absolutely sounds incredibly formulaic. No doubt, I'm not going to deny that even for a single second. But you know what? I'm eating that formula up. I'm eating it up. I want to see Godzilla and Kong have that moment after they're bloodied and bruised from fighting each other. Look at the new threat. Look at each other and go, bro, we got this. Give each other the monster fist bump, run off, and take out the new monster. Maybe it'll be Doomsday as well. Because I believe this is a Warner Brothers film, right? So they got the rights to Doomsday. That's right. Doomsday comes back. There you go. I've written your movie for you. So yeah, formulaic? Absolutely a little bit. But I also think it sounds pretty great. Now, Dimitri asks a fair question. Are they getting ahead of themselves by actually putting this movie into production when they're not even sure how Godzilla 2 is going to do? Maybe. I mean, look, we have some cautionary tales just recently. Look at Universal's monster universe, right? With Mummy and Invisible Man and the Wolf Man and Bride of Frankenstein and all these movies they were going to do after Tom Cruise's Mummy. And look how that turned out. They kind of embarrassed themselves. The whole thing failed, yada, yada, yada. So there is a cautionary tale there. But I think I would propose that this scenario with Kong versus Godzilla is a different kind of scenario. Number one, they're not announcing 18 movies. You know, they're not announcing Kong versus Godzilla, then Son of Kong, then Son of Godzilla, then Son of Godzilla and Son of Kong battles, second removed cousin of Mothra. Like, they're not announcing this 18-long movie slate like Universal did with their Universal properties, right? So it's different on that level. It's one film. Secondly, I kind of dig it because to me, it's Warner Brothers showing they got confidence in Godzilla 2. They're not getting too far ahead of themselves. They're not planning out 8 sequels. At least they're not announcing it. But it at least shows to me, hey, we believe, we know we've got a winner on our hand with Godzilla 2. We believe the audiences are going to flock to this movie, and we believe the audiences are going to have a good time, and they're going to tell their friends, and more people are going to come. And so we feel completely confident in moving ahead and getting Godzilla vs. Kong 2 into motion. And you know what the other good thing about that is this? By getting this movie into production now, when we do see Godzilla 2, and if we do enjoy it, it means we don't have to wait that long for Godzilla vs. Kong to come out. I mean, don't get me wrong, Godzilla vs. Kong isn't going to come out 6 months after King Kong or after Godzilla 2, but it shortens the window for how long we have to wait for the next one. And again, that kind of speaks to me to the confidence that Warner Brothers seems to have in this particular property. And to me, that's good news. So overall, I got to tell you, I'm kind of liking what I'm seeing. I am kind of liking what I'm seeing. All right, let's move on now to the next topic. And the next email today comes to us from Tommy N, who writes, I guess dumb doesn't have a time limit. I got to make a t-shirt out of that, Tommy. I guess dumb doesn't have a time limit. The president of the Academy has recently said that they are still looking at doing that stupid best popular film category at the Oscars. Granted, he didn't say it was a sure thing, but the fact that they're even still talking about it makes me lose faith in humanity. You've had some time to think about it. Have you changed your mind at all on this subject? All right, thanks a lot for the email, Tommy. So what Tommy's talking about is this. Some of you will probably remember that a short time ago, word came out that kind of rocked a lot of the film fan world, that the Academy was looking at making some changes. A couple of changes they suggested I actually thought were good changes. But the one that stood out and the one that everybody talked about was the implementation of this absolutely ridiculous notion of let's do a best popular film category. To which many of us said, what the hell are you talking about? It is clearly the most asinine thing the Academy has ever come up with. And listen, I'm a fan of the Academy. I love the Oscars and I love the Academy Awards. Aside from Christmas is my favorite day of the year. Aside from Christmas, my favorite day of the year is the Oscars. I love the Oscars. But something like this made me wonder, like, are they smoking something? Is it is it the air quality in LA that's damaging their brain cells? Like, how could anybody be so stupid to, number one, come up with this idiotic idea, and number two, actually discuss it in committees and go, yeah, this sounds like a great idea? It was the absolute stupidest thing I've ever seen the Academy propose, and the Academy has done some stupid things, let's be honest. The Academy has done some stupid things. At any rate, shortly after that, and all the hailstorm came down of people objecting to it, they kind of pulled the plug on it. However, they have not shut the lights out on this idea entirely, and they're keeping the idea alive for all the wrong reasons. Anyway, Vanity Fair recently wrote a piece about this whole situation going up, and they said the following. Check this out. So speaking about the Academy President John Bailey, drawing viewers in by catering. First of all, whenever you use the word catering, that's a bad sign, man. That is a red flag. Total red flag. Drawing viewers in by catering to mainstream hits seemed like a good idea to the board at the time, he said. But the pushback against the proposed new category was strong enough that the Academy ultimately announced that it would no longer introduce the prize at the 2019 ceremony. However, that is not to say that the idea is dead, he added. Even after a stake was driven through its heart, there's still interest. Okay, so it's number one. The whole idea of, we got to start catering. Oh, we got to turn this thing into the MTV Movie Awards. We got to cater. You know what? Here's the thing. And before we get on to the second part of this quote, hear this. This is why I have such a big problem with this. The reason I love the Academy Awards and the Oscars, and look, I know a lot of you guys have issues with the Oscars. That's cool. That's fine. But let me tell you why I love them and why I have such a problem with this, okay? The reason I love the Oscars so much is because they don't bloody cater to me. I'm a fan. I love it, but I don't want them to cater to me. Yes, I'll whine and moan and bitch and complain about the fact that Forrest Gump got Best Picture over Shawshank Redemption. Big swing and a miss. Yes, I'll moan and whine and complain that Star Wars The Phantom Menace didn't win Best Visual Effects, because even though the movie was crap, it was the best visual effects. Yes, I'll moan and complain every year and every Oscars about certain people I think should have got nominated. I thought Logan should have been nominated for Best Picture of the Year, and it didn't, and I will whine and moan and bitch and complain about it. Yes, I will, but I love the fact underneath all of that they don't cater. That's why I can agree or I can disagree. I can be outraged by certain things they do, but the underlying thing of it all is they've never catered to me, and I respect that. I've always appreciated the fact that this is an organization and this is an award ceremony and this is a body that says, no, we are going to celebrate excellence. And excellence, as in all other things in film, is subjective. We're not all going to agree. So we've got this huge voting body of like 8,000 members, all with differing opinions, and we're going to celebrate what we collectively think is the best in excellence, and we ain't going to cater to nobody. We're not going to cater to this demographic of fan. We're not going to cater to that demographic of fan. We're just going to celebrate what we think is the best. That's it. That's our only criteria. That's it. And the moment now that they start admitting, we got to cater to a certain group of people, now you're nothing better. You're no better than the MTV Movie Awards. That's it. You're no better than the MTV Movie Awards at this point. Let's rah anything that's popular. Yay! No, screw excellence. Screw what's the best. Let's just cater. And yes, that means every year I'll be outraged a little bit at things I thought should have been nominated that didn't, winners that won that I didn't think should have won. Yeah. But that's part of the greatness of it. That's part of the reason I've always respected it still, because they don't cater to me. And the moment they start talking about that, dude, that is a red flag. That is a flag that says this academy has lost its way. They've done some really good things in recent years, adding much younger demographics to their voting base, a much more diverse voting base. They're doing some really good things. They are. But the fact that this idea in the first place even got to the floor tells me this is an academy that has lost its way. The fact that they're even using words like we got to cater tells me this is an academy that has lost all sense of their identity and who they are and what they represent. Because guess what? If you give Logan Best Picture, and I thought it was the best movie of the year, but if you give Logan Best Picture just to cater to me and my kind, then it's meaningless now. Yay, Logan won Best Picture. It was my favorite movie of the year, but I know it's all BS because you just gave it to cater to it. And it loses all of its relevance. It loses all of its credibility as soon as you start to say we're catering. Even if you're catering to me, it's BS, and it bothers me. All right. We breathe. Let's look at the second part of the statement that brings up an entirely different problem here. Okay, so this is a continuation of that. Bailey, that's the president of the Academy, also tipped off some of the Academy's ongoing conversations about the future of the organization and the televised Oscar ceremony, noting that Disney, which owns ABC, is trying to expand the awards to millennials in order to help the telecast thrive through ABC's 2028 contract. Let me read that last part again, okay? The organization, the Academy's ongoing conversations about the future of the organization and the televised Oscar ceremony, noting that Disney, which owns ABC, is trying to expand the awards to millennials in order to help the telecast thrive through ABC's 2028 contract. This is what we have here. Number one, completely doing the wrong thing by catering to a group of people, no matter how big that group is. Catering is a problem. But now, number two, we got a problem with their motive. Their motive is a problem. Because what's their motive? Got to have the ratings for the TV show. We got to have the ratings for that one day a year that we broadcast a show. The television company that broadcast, oh, they want us to do this and this so we can get the ratings up. That's why you're doing this? You're completely compromising the integrity of what you stand for. And look, I know we're just talking about the Oscars here. Why get so wound up? Because I love the Oscars. This is my second favorite day of the year. And the fact that they're screwing with it so much. So number one, they're doing something stupid. And number two, the second quote that we got there, they're doing it for completely idiotic and wrong and undermining reasons. All because we got to get ratings up. And again, you're doing nothing but becoming another cheap version and joke like the MTV Movie Awards. That's what you're making yourselves. You're doing something stupid and you're doing it for stupid reasons. The Academy is supposed to be a body that embodies the whole notion of the subjectivity of film. We all see art differently, and they have a big 6, 7, 8,000 voting member base to celebrate exclusively excellence, to vote in the terms of excellence, to present in the terms of excellence, and to honor excellence. And that means I'm going to disagree sometimes, and that's fine. But you start to cater, and you start to do it with the motivation, when the whole purpose of your Academy now changes from celebrating the art, when the purpose of your Academy changes from celebrating the films, when the purpose of your Academy changes from celebrating and recognizing excellence to what we really are as an annual show, and we got to do whatever it takes to get the ratings up, then you've lost your way. This Bailey guy has got to go. This Bailey guy, if you are so spineless as a leader of this Academy, if you are so incompetent as the caretaker of this organization and what it's represented to film fans like me, if you're this incompetent, this dude's got to go. You got to go. And you might be the greatest guy in the world. You might be a super sweetheart of a dude, but you are not the right guy for this job. And I understand it's not just this John Bailey guy. It's the Academy as a whole. It's a whole board. It's a whole voting membership. I understand this. I do. But you're the president. You got to lead. You got to influence. You got to steer this ship. And maybe the whole frickin' board of the Academy has to go. This isn't just about, you see, some people look at me like I'm a little strange because I am. But they look at me a little strange. John, it's like one category. Who cares? No. It's what it represents. It represents the complete undermining of what the Academy has been, what it means, and what it should be for us as film fans. We do it because we got to cater to people. We're going to do it so we can get high ratings on the shows. Well, then, you know what? Your award is useless. And even if you don't implement this change now, it concerns me so much as a fan that you even considered it for those stupid reasons. Anyway, that's just my thoughts on the subject. Time for us to move on because I could bellow on this all day. Anyway, let's move on now to the next email of the day. And the next email today comes to us from Hector Martinez, who writes, I know you don't usually talk a lot about video games, but I know that you play a bunch. Did you see that the Game Award nominees came out and that Red Dead Redemption 2 and God of War both lead with 8 nominations, each including Game of the Year? What do you think about the nominations? All right, thanks a lot for the email, Hector. And yeah, I mean, look, the entertainment industry is being redefined all the time, which is one of the great things about the entertainment industry. And more video games are very much a part of the entertainment industry. They really are. And with 5,872 movies being made out of video game properties, they are cousins that are becoming more and more closely connected. The movies and the video games and stuff like that. At any rate, and this year, by the way, there have been more. I mean, I don't know. I can't remember, Ray, or Jonathan, if there has been another year where this many super high profile and super highly anticipated and super high excellence games have been released. Anyway, the game nominations got released yesterday, and there are 6 nominees for Best Game. Here are your nominees for Best Game. So they are Assassin's Creed Odyssey. You got the platformer game Celeste. I think that's the pronunciation of it. You have God of War. You have Marvel's Spider-Man. You have Monster Hunter World, and you have Red Dead Redemption 2. That is a killer road. That's just this year. That is just this year. which is crazy good. Now, you mentioned that I think it was God of War and Red Dead Redemption 2 have led the way with 8 nominees apiece. The Marvel Spider-Man came out very close just behind them. It got 7 nominees or nominations as well. So these are your front runners. You got that little dark horse in there, Celeste, which I thought was really cool. That one got in there as well. So these are your nominees. Personally, to me, it's God of War. I played a little bit of Assassin's Odyssey, played a little bit of Spider-Man. I haven't had a chance to play Red Dead 2 yet, though. I haven't had a chance to play any of that at this point. But God of War is remarkable. So to me, that's the winner. But asterisk, I haven't played any Red Dead 2 yet, so I'll have to get back to that. But in talking about this relationship between these games and this industry of the games and how they've become so interconnected with and intertwined with the movie business and even to some degree narrative storytelling business with television. Like we've got Witcher coming to TV as well, right? With Henry Cavill. So that's all coming. So it raised a question for me that we are going to make today's question of the day. And our question of the day today is simply this. Which of these video game movies do you think is best positioned to become, or not video game movies, which one of these video games is best positioned to make and structured the best to make a great movie? Now, I'm only giving you 4 options, even though 6 nominees. Let's be honest, Celeste isn't going to be one of them. And Spider-Man, we're not going to make that part of it because Spider-Man is already a film franchise, right? But out of the 4 other remaining ones, which video game do you think is best positioned and structured to make a good movie? We've got Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Red Dead 2, God of War, or Monster Hunter World. Here's how you can answer today's question of the day. Go over to my Twitter, and my Twitter is simply at twitter.com/John Campea. You can see my Twitter handle right there, just at John Campea. The very top tweet on my timeline is, question of the day, what game of the year nominee is best structured to make a good movie? You've got your 4 options. Go there and select your options and let your voice be heard. By the way, yesterday's question of the day was, will Captain Marvel at the box office have results that are more similar to Ant-Man 2, which was $622 million, or closer to Black Panther's box office, which is $1.3 million? The results are in. 57% of you agreed with me. Look at that. Will wonders never cease? That Ant-Man 2 is what Captain Marvel's box office is most going to resemble. It's going to be closer to Ant-Man 2 than it will to Black Panther. 43% of you said it would be closer to Black Panther. And so that is the results of yesterday's question of the day. So today's question of the day, what game of the year nominee is best structured to make a good movie? Go on over there and register your votes now, and we will, of course, visit the results on tomorrow's show. All right. With that out of the way, let's move on now to the next question. And the next question today comes to us from Greg McFarlane, who writes, I am so happy right now. I was already excited for The Mandalorian, and now I just found out that one of my favorite actors, Pedro Pascal, is going to star in it. He was absolutely my favorite part of Narcos season 1 and 2. What do you think about Pascal joining The Mandalorian? All right, thanks a lot. And yes, yesterday the news dropped that Pedro Pascal is taking on the lead role. He's going to be The Mandalorian. Now, we've been talking about The Mandalorian a lot. Very excited. It's the live-action Star Wars series that's going to be on Disney+, which is Disney's upcoming streaming service that they're going to start in 2019. Now, they've brought the directors on. We know that. Guys like Taika Waititi, Bryce Dallas Howard, Dave Filoni, a bunch of other great name directors are coming on to direct different episodes. We saw pictures of George Lucas on set with Jon Favreau and all this kind of stuff. And yet, we haven't even known who's the Mandalorian. Who's playing this role? Well, now we do. And it is Oberyn. It's the Viper. From Game of Thrones and, of course, Narcos and a bunch of other things, Pedro Pascal. And I'm going to tell you what, I couldn't be more excited. I could not be more excited about this. I have been saying for a couple of years that this dude right here is massively underrated. Massively underrated. I think this dude is a dramatic acting force of nature. He gets on screen, man, and he captivates you on screen, no matter how big or how small, how long or how short his involvement on screen time is. He will get you to buy in. I think this dude is outstanding. You know what? Fact checker Jonathan and I were talking about him yesterday about how Narcos season 1 you kind of got the feeling right at the beginning that it was set up to really be Boyd Holbrook's show, right? It was kind of built to be his show. I mean, he was kind of the lead guy. And the Pedro Pascal character was kind of secondary guy. But we mentioned I remember, it was the episode where he starts to make a deal with the other kind of cartel, right? That was the episode that you started to see, no, man, this Pedro Pascal's character, he's the one. This is really his show. It's really more about him. And then, of course, season 2, it was exclusively really him. He was so great in it. And I'm telling you what, with the directing talent they have, with Jon Favreau's executive producer, along with Catherine Kennedy and Dave Filoni, writing the damn thing, and now you add this guy as your lead. Look, this show could suck. It absolutely could. No doubt. This show could suck. But as far as how have they positioned themselves with this kind of behind the camera and in front of the camera talent and the whole basic notion of the show, I mean, it's set up looking pretty damn good right now. It's looking pretty damn good right now. And I got to tell you, the addition of this dude is amazing. But you know what? Let's look at Pedro Pascal for a second. It's not just, Game of Thrones and Narcos. Yes, he's had notable roles in Game of Thrones. He was great in that. I wish they could figure out a way for him to come back. Obviously, he's the thing in Narcos. Kingsman: The Golden Circle. He was a much bigger character, like triple big as Channing Tatum. And yet Channing Tatum was on all the posters, even though Channing Tatum's in like 10 minutes of the movie. And they never put Pedro Pascal in any of the billboards or any of the posters. I've never understood that. I didn't like Kingsman: The Golden Circle all that much, but I thought Pedro Pascal was amazing in it. His role in Equalizer 2 was great. He's going to be in that upcoming If Beale Street Could Talk. Now, that's the movie being put out by Barry Jenkins, who, of course, won the Academy Award for Best Screenplay, and his movie, Moonlight, won Best Picture of the Year the other year. He's now doing If Beale Street Could Talk, and he is writing it and directing it, so he's got a role in that. That comes out in December. He's got Triple Frontier he's got coming out with Ben Affleck. He's doing that with him, and, of course, he's got a role in Wonder Woman 84. What his role is at this point, we don't really know. But, again, announcing this guy, Pedro Pascal, as the lead for Mandalorian, I think is fantastic. I think even if you've been pessimistic about this show, and let's be honest, there are reasons to be pessimistic for sure. But even if you've been a pessimist about your show, I bet you got to stop and go, yeah, okay, that's a pretty good move. Putting Pedro Pascal in, that's a pretty good move. We're down with that. So I think it's fantastic. What do you guys think about the addition of Pedro Pascal in The Mandalorian? Jump down into the comments section and let me know your thoughts. All right, guys, with all of that out of the way, let's now go on and take some live questions from you guys. A bunch of you guys have already been firing in live questions, so let's jump over to the live chat board and see what you guys are saying. And we're going to start things off with Vrinder Singh, who writes, movie makers get huge budgets these days, but whenever they try to do reboots or sequels, they always struggle to capture the magic of the original films. Example, Predator, Alien, and many more. Why is this? Well, I think there's a couple things, Vrinder. First of all, understand, every movie struggles to be any good. I mean, making a good movie is one of the most impossible things in the world to do. We as film fans seem to have this erroneous idea that making a good movie is easy. Anybody can make a good movie. Why do you struggle to make? No, every movie struggles to be good. Most movies that come out aren't that great. Right? It's great when we get something that we can enjoy and stuff like that, but for the most part, it's very few and far between that a truly great movie comes out. It's difficult. But also, I would challenge your notion that only... Here, let me just pull something up here, because I was writing something down earlier, but that only, the originals are good. That's just not true at all. Look at Christopher Nolan's and his Batman. That was a reboot. That was rebooting or reimagining, relaunching of a series. It did pretty damn well. Look at Mad Max Fury Road. That was kind of rebooting the world, a continuation of that world, moving on. It did pretty damn well. Look at Dredd, the one with Carl Urban. That one did pretty damn good. Everybody seemed to like that. They've rebooted Spider-Man twice, and I think both times they did. The first Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield, I contend, was great. Spider-Man Homecoming was fantastic. They've done that. They constantly do it with Bond, right? That's happened there too. So, I mean, the notion that reboots and stuff like that always struggle, that's just not true. That's just not true. I mean, some of the greatest movies of all time are reboots. You're talking about The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing was a reboot. Jeff Goldblum's The Fly was a reboot. The Departed, which was a reboot and a remake of Infernal Affairs, won Best Picture of the Year. I mean, it's a false notion that all reboots suck and they all struggle, and that's not true. Many of them do, but I would propose to you that no more so struggle than the average movie that comes out struggles. Most movies, whether they're original, reboots, sequels, whatever, they will struggle to be good. It's just more notable when it's a reboot because we also have something more direct to tie to and connect it to. But I mean, oftentimes sequels and reboots will come out and they'll be better than the originals. A lot of people think Empire Strikes Back is better than Star Wars. Rush Hour 2 is much better than Rush Hour 1. I mean, Star Trek Wrath of Khan is better than Star Trek 1. And there are modern examples as well. The point is, not all of them struggle to do it. But more importantly, to the point is, when they do struggle, it's not really because they're reboots. It's because all movies struggle to be good. I mean, that's just the bottom line of it. At least that's how I see it. What do you guys think? Jump down to the comment section and let Werner know what you think about his question. All right. Donaldo Martinez writes, I'm excited for Pedro Pascal next leading the role in Star Wars universe, but I hope someday he gets more theatrical roles. He's a great actor. Well, I mean, he will. Like I said, he's got If Beale Street Could Talk, which looks like it could be an awards contender. He's got Wonder Woman 84. And believe me, if he crushes it in Wonder Woman 84, which he will, and if he crushes it in this Mandalorian series, which he will, the offers he's going to get will be limitless. He's going to get a lot of attention. A lot of attention. And I just believe in this guy so much. I'm super excited he's got this role. So I'm now considerably more hopeful for this series than I was before. Ben Hayusa writes, Detective Pikachu made me think of what happens when Happy Time Murders goes Pokemon or Dr. Doolittle turns Pokemon. Oh, I agree. It definitely kind of had that little kind of a vibe feel to it. We talked, of course, about the Detective Pikachu trailer yesterday. I thought this movie is a stupid idea. I went on record. I said, I think this movie's a dumb idea. I don't like the idea, blah, blah, blah. But call it like you see it, man. That trailer was charming. That trailer got me. So I'm on board with this movie now, Ben. Kevin Brown writes, I wonder if the death of Tony's parents will be referenced in Captain Marvel since it happened only a year or two prior in the MCU timeline. Oh, that's an interesting idea. It's hard to say because from a narrative point of view, I don't see a purpose in mentioning it. And remember, Captain America was in deep freeze at that time. The stuff going on with Bucky as Winter Soldier was incredibly classified and top secret. Nobody knew about it really. Or very, 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 very few individuals even knew about it. So I don't know. I mean, you could get a reference of, ever since Stark and his wife died. I mean, maybe some offhanded reference. It's possible, I suppose. I just hope they don't force it in, If it fits with the narrative, do it. I just hope they don't force something like that in. Ben Hayusa writes, I am so looking forward to Godzilla vs. Kong. I'm just a huge fan of Godzilla and the kaiju films. So now that they are shooting, it gets me hyped. I'm hyped too. Because listen, while I think Aquaman trailer at Comic-Con won Comic-Con, I think the Aquaman trailer was the best trailer at Comic-Con. The Godzilla 2 trailer was pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. And got everybody hyped. And then they started announcing this awesome cast for Kong versus Godzilla, or Godzilla versus Kong, I should say. Gets me even more hyped. They're shooting now. I'm with you, man. It's hearing that they're shooting now is really exciting, and I'm totally on board with it. Kevin Brown writes, over under 10%, both Tony and Cap die in Avengers 4. Ooh, 10% is really low. See, I don't think both Tony and Cap are going to die in Avengers 4. As a matter of fact, I don't think either of them are going to die. To be honest, I don't think either will die. But 10% is a really low number. That's a good line. You know what? I'll take over 10. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen, but 10% is a real low number. I will take over 10% that both Tony and Cap die. I'm not saying that they will, but if you're going to set the line at 10%, I got to take the over on that. I just have to. Stubble McShave writes, I rewatched The Name of the Rose with Sean Connery, the Abbey, with Sean Connery yesterday. I think it's a brilliant film that could have gotten an Oscar nomination in another year. Ron Perlman is great as the Hunchback Salvatore. Christian Slater's in that movie too, by the way. In case you forgot about whatever happened to Christian Slater. I like Christian Slater for the record. First of all, I can just listen to Sean Connery say the Abbey all day. I don't know. There's something about the word Abbey and Sean Connery. I liked The Name of the Rose. I don't know that I agree that I liked it that much that I think it could have been a serious Oscar contender in other years. Maybe it could have been. I'll be honest with you, I totally forgot Ron Perlman was in that. Completely forgot he was in that. Check it out because Christian Slater's in that too. It's funny the films Christian Slater pops up in. Like, it really is, but I dig the dude. I like it a lot. But that's a good one. Not a lot of people saw it. Not a lot of people saw it. I think it was like 81, 82, 83, something like that. It was the early 80s that one came out. Deep cut, Stubble. Thanks for bringing that one up. Kevin Brown writes, I think Captain America will die sacrificing his life. Iron Man will live on through Tony's daughter Morgan from another dimension to time travel scenario. That's getting oddly specific, Kevin. Look, there are many people who think Captain America is going to die, and he very well may. He very well may. There was this report going around, and we talked about it on the show the other week, that, Chris Evans put out this statement just saying, it was an emotional last day of shooting and blah, blah, blah. And everybody around these headlines, Chris Evans confirms that he's done as Captain America. And I'm like, no, he didn't. I read the statement. He did not say anywhere in that statement that he was now done playing Captain America. Nowhere in his statement did it say that. And then a couple of days later, Chris Evans put out a clarification saying, hey, just to be clear, I'm not confirming or denying anything. I didn't say I was done. So he very well could die in Avengers 4. Very well could die. There's a good chance that happens. But I just wanted everybody to be clear that he did not say that that's what's happening. Not at all. And he even came out a little bit later to confirm that. So that's certainly possible. That's a popular theory, Kevin, that'll die in that. As far as Tony's daughter, Morgan, coming in from another dimension, I don't think so. I think there's enough craziness going on in the MCU and in the Avengers films right now that I don't think that there's a need, or even it's probably very wise to bring that into it as well. But hey, now watch. That's exactly what's going to happen. Robbie de Herrera writes, bad movie you'll always have a soft spot for. Easy, I talk about it all the time. Vanilla Ice's Cool as Ice. Yup, she likes me. That movie is my all-time favorite bad movie. I will never enjoy a horrible movie more. I will always have a hot spot, a soft spot. Always have a hot spot. I will always have a soft spot for Vanilla Ice's Cool as Ice. Always and forever. All right. Rufino Salazar Jr. writes, hi, John. Which movie brought the man tears? Marley and Me, Hachi, or Old Yeller, or any other movie you've seen aside from these? Keep up the great work. Well, out of those three, Old Yeller. I haven't cried at that movie as even a teenager, but I remember that was it is my dad's favorite movie, is Old Yeller. It's my dad's all-time favorite movie. Unless that's changed in recent years. But growing up, my dad's all-time favorite movie was Old Yeller. And my dad is this big, gruff bear of a dude, unless you're his daughter or his granddaughter. Then he turns into a soft little thing. And I keep trying to tell my sister's children, like, yeah, this big, soft teddy bear, that's a lie. That's not the man I grew up with, all right? He's a stern bear, right? My dad always loved him. He's great. But Old Yeller got to him, man. And I remember as a kid, I believe I had tears at that, watching that one when I was a little kid, watching on the old VHS. But as far as what brought on man tears, no movie. I've talked about it all the time. Best of the best, baby. Best of the best. That movie, I cannot not cry. At the end of that movie, as Dahan limps over to Tommy, who he killed his brother earlier, and he takes off his medal and gives him the medal and says, I am deeply regret the death of your brother, and I humbly offer myself as your new brother. Man tears, chills running up and down my arm right now. Huge goosebumps on my arms right now, just thinking about that thing. Greatest man moment in the history of cinema. Best and the best. James Earl Jones. What's Julia Roberts' brother's name? Eric Roberts was the lead guy in it. Fabulous. Man tears every time. Man tears every time. Really Tired 64 writes, let's see. I heard that Stan Lee taped cameos for Captain Marvel, Avengers 4, and Spider-Man Far From Home. Do you think they will use CGI or other ways to insert them into future films? Well, I remember there was a story about a year ago that Marvel had Stan Lee come in, and they just, because, you don't want to make, Stan Lee was in his 90s, you don't want to constantly make him go out and travel and go onto set and shoot things all the time. So I think what they did, the story, at least at any rate, about a year ago, was they got Stan Lee for a day or two and just filmed a whole ton of cameos that they could then take and drop into future movies. Just so they wouldn't constantly have to make this 90-plus-year-old guy fly across the country to go shoot something. Hey, let's get him in and let's do all this stuff so he doesn't have to put up with this BS. Let's make his life a little bit easier here. And I think they shot a ton of them. That's the story, at any rate. We'll find out. Do I think they'll CGI him? No, I think that's disrespectful. I don't think that they will. Not for a cameo or anything like that. Not for something like that. I think what you will see is posters, images, old video playing on a television in the background. I think they'll always do something to incorporate Stan Lee into it, but I don't think they'll do CGI. I could be wrong, but I don't think they will at any rate. All right. Edgar Magana writes, thoughts on LeBron James producing a Friday the 13th movie maybe? Well, we talked about this the other day when the story came out. I don't know that he would be the producer, but his production company, which LeBron and his production company have offices in our offices, by the way. I'm like 3 parking spots. My parking spot is literally like 3 parking spots over from LeBron James's. It's crazy. But his company is going to be producing one. At least that's what they're going to try to do. They got the rights to make the film. There's still a lot of legal entanglements to get through as to what elements of Friday the 13th do the rights holder actually have, which other elements belong to somebody else, what can they do, what can't they do. That's still a big question. If they're able to go ahead and do it, yeah, take a shot at it. Take a shot at it. I mean, hey, if you've got this new fledgling production company, you want to try a little Friday the 13th movie, that's a good thing to start with. It's a good thing to start with. Not a lot of high expectations, but good recognizability. There's a lot of upside, not a lot of potential downside, because even if it stinks, a lot of people have already kind of given up on Friday the 13th, so I think it's a wise move. We'll see what happens. All right. Stubble McShave writes, saw that Roger Moore was 3 years older than Sean Connery. You know what? Good trivia. I never knew that. If that's true, I did not know that. I had no idea. I always just assumed Sean Connery was older. I don't know why. Maybe because Moore always rocked the dark black hair. I don't know. Maybe that's why. But it really shouldn't be that surprising, I suppose, but I never knew that. Edgar Magana writes, any slasher you'd like to see get the reboot treatment? Not really. I think the old slasher movies, it's time for them to go. But at the same time, I'm always up for somebody else trying the rebooting, like LeBron's company. Want to reboot Friday the 13th? It's a good one to try. None of them that I'm really looking forward to. Like, I think Freddy had his day. I think Jason had his day. But look, they just did Mike Myers with Halloween, and I really liked Halloween. So there you go. So, no, none off the top of my head that I'd really look forward to, but they did just do one that I really liked. So, take that for what it's worth. Who knows? All right. Rami J. Royster writes, thoughts on the Eternals as a potential Marvel film? Well, the Eternals was this interesting situation. Jack Kirby created the Eternals, and they have a lot of similarities thematically, at any rate, to New Gods and stuff like that, right? I don't know. I don't think it works. And I'll be honest with you. I know they announced a long time ago that they were going to do a New Gods movie. And who is the director of Wrinkle in Time? Ava DuVernay. Why did I freeze a name? Thank you, Jonathan. Why did I freeze an Ava DuVernay's name? And they announced a while ago, remember, that Ava DuVernay was supposedly going to direct a New Gods movie. I doubt that's happening now, but I remember thinking at the time, I love Ava DuVernay. I did not like Wrinkle in Time, but I like her as a director. She did a great job with Selma, but I remember never being all that stoked about the idea of a new. I just don't know that it works cinematically. Maybe it does. Maybe it would be great. So I kind of have the same. I would have the same apprehensions about like Eternals as well. But who knows? Let's see if they come up with a great idea. Christian Allman writes, you're a false Creed is what we'll all be saying if Creed 2 doesn't live up to the hype. Yeah, man, I'm telling you what. I had the benefit of going into the first Creed not thinking it would be very good. I didn't think the first Creed, first of all, I didn't think it was a good idea. And I certainly didn't think the movie was going to be any good. I didn't think it was going to be garbage. It didn't look terrible or anything, but I didn't have a lot of expectations. But we went in, and that movie knocked our socks off. That movie's great. I hope we're not going to experience a reverse of that, because now we're all going in with sky-high expectations for Creed 2. Not just because the first Creed was magnificent, but because the trailers for Creed 2 have been out of this world. So I hope we don't get a reverse thing going on right now. Because I don't know anybody that's looking forward to this movie more than Ray. Ray's sitting over there. He like every day we drive up Hollywood Boulevard and we pass by this big Creed 2 billboard, and every time he's like, Creed. I just hope we don't have like the reverse situation here where now our expectations are really high to the point that it can't possibly live up to it, but we'll have to wait and see. Cobra writes, I still can't believe King Kong versus Godzilla, thank you, is actually happening. Yes, and I think it's Kong versus, it's Godzilla versus Kong, right? That's the official title? Godzilla versus Kong. But I can't believe King Kong versus Godzilla is actually happening. I know, it seems really weird, and like I said, I applied that word, tangibilization. Like they're actually shooting this damn thing, and we're going to see King Kong and Godzilla fight, and then they'll fist bump and turn and fight Doomsday 2, or whatever monster is going to be Doomsday 2, and they'll take him out together, and both their moms are named Martha. Baby Boy 8603 writes, hey, John, love the show. Thank you so much. Had a movie night with my girl and did a double feature of Secret Window, and Gone Girl. Oh, nice. She never saw them and enjoyed them both. For a nice double feature. Gone Girl, though, I remember, I told the story the other day, I'll just mention it quick. I remember Ann and I saw that with John Schnepp and Holly. And we went, and I remember we came out of that movie, for those of you who have seen Gone Girl, I won't give away the ending, but the ending will mess you up. And I remember, while all four of us really enjoyed the film, me and Schnepp and Holly and Ann, we all walked out of the theater. We saw it at the AMC Burbank 16. And we all kind of looked at each other. It's like, I don't know if I want to fall asleep beside you tonight. You know what I mean? Like it'll play with your head. So interesting one to watch with the girlfriend, but I agree. I thought the movie was fantastic. So I'm glad you guys had a chance to watch that. Nathan Oswald writes, do you think we'll get a Siegfried and Roy biopic? I don't see why not. I mean, it sounds like they've done many films like that have been made. It's a very recognizable name, place in history. I could see it being done at some point for sure. Sarat Chandra writes, watching Rhapsody and Fantastic Beasts on the 16th, nice double feature. I like both of those films very much. I saw Fantastic Beasts, Crimes of Grindelwald for a second time last night. I really dig the film, and I'm not a big Potter fan. And I do think this is a film that will divide audiences a little bit. I think there's going to be a bunch of hardcore Potterites that don't dig the movie, and that's fine. But I think a bunch will, and I know I did. And I know Cody Miller, who's a massive Potterhead, he really liked it too. So I think you're going to enjoy it, man. At least I hope you do. History Soup writes, forget time travel. Couldn't Gauntlet unsnap them? Well, the Gauntlet was damaged, though. Remember? At the end, the Gauntlet was damaged. And the Russo brothers said in the DVD commentary, in the Blu-ray commentary of Infinity War, they said it's permanently damaged. So I don't know that the Gauntlet can just unsnap it. There might be in a situation where that doesn't do it, where that doesn't happen. We'll have to wait and see. We're getting close, though. It's only like, it was 5.5 months away now before we get to see it. History Soup follows up with, odds a Marvel-made Fantastic Four fails too. I'd say 30%. I mean, look, Marvel's got a great track record. If and when they ever get around to trying Fantastic Four, if and when the deal ever officially closes and Disney actually gets them, I have no idea. It's probably going to be at least 3 or 4 years before they get into making a Fantastic Four. But look, their track record is very good. So I'd give it a 30% chance that it fails as well. Rami J. Royster writes, signed with MoviePass for a year earlier in February. The only thing that MoviePass is somewhat good for is seeing independent movies. Should I stay? Well, I mean, if you're already signed up and you got it, take advantage of it while you can. The problem is you don't always get a choice of which movies you get to see. They tell you what you get to see on a particular day and what time you get to see it. It's very difficult to use. But if you're in the position that you can use it, take advantage of them by all means. I'm all for people using MoviePass if it drives them more into bankruptcy. I'm all for it. So if you signed up for the year and you still have it, by all means, get everybody use out of it that you can. Absolutely, Rami. Edgar Navarro writes, I'm watching this at work, sitting outside in 38-degree weather, but it's all good. I'm watching the John Campea Show. Well, thank you so much, Edgar. First of all, I'm jealous because I'm Canadian. My favorite season is winter, and we get no cold weather here. It, bothers me. We're in November, and it's going to be 75 degrees outside today. It bothers me. I'm a little bit jealous, but I'm also very grateful, dude, that you would sit outside in that just to watch the show. Thank you so much, man. I'm honored. Thank you. I'm grateful for that, dude. I'm Upset writes, thoughts on the Lone Ranger chances of a sequel? Zip, zero, nada. Chances of a Lone Ranger reboot and them trying again? Absolutely, at some point. Lone Ranger is one of the most celebrated fictional characters in American history. There's a lot of great stuff you could do with the Lone Ranger. A sequel of the one they did? Nil. And even though I got into a little bit of a Twitter spat with Armie Hammer, I think Armie Hammer is amazing. I think he's an incredibly talented dude, and I thought he was a great choice to play the Lone Ranger. All the problems with the Lone Ranger had nothing to do with Armie Hammer's fault and nothing to do with Johnny Depp's fault, although they shouldn't have cast Johnny Depp as Tonto, but at any rate. As far as acting goes, he acted his ass off, and I thought Armie Hammer did too. But, I mean, it was a failure of a movie. I don't think there's any chance they do a sequel, but rebooting it, yeah, that could happen at some point. Stubble McShave writes, actors and directors should boycott the Oscar ceremony if the popular film category becomes a reality. Maybe it will be a boycott that actually works. First of all, unless there's real strong moral grounds, I don't believe in boycotting. I believe in not participating in something if it's not something you want to participate in, but that's not a boycott. A boycott is when you try to organize other people to do something that you're doing yourself. I don't really believe in boycotts very much. I know I'll probably give up on the Oscars, but I'm not going to create organizations and try to get other people to give up on the Oscars. No, I'm not going to boycott it. I'll just check out myself personally. And I don't know that actors and directors should boycott, because there might be some actors and directors that stand to benefit from it, and they'll probably want a fake best popular film thing. It's just ridiculous. But no, I don't think they should boycott. Just because they're doing something you disagree with. Don't participate in it if it's something you don't want to do. But as far as, mass organizing group and organization and try to force somebody to do something you want them to do, I'm not down with that, unless there's really high moral reasons, but that are more than just first world problems. And let's be clear here. No matter how upset I get about it, it's a first world problem. Let's keep it in its context, right? Let's see. Last two questions of the day. Aditya Naran writes, speaking of your question of the day, Paul W. Anderson is making a Monster Hunter movie. Yes, he is. Another potential worst video game movie. Yes, and I believe his wife is in it again, right? What's her name from the Resident Evil movies? Why am I? No, it's not Natasha. Is it? No, it's why am I free? I'm looking at her face. Anyway, I believe she's in it as well. And yes, not looking good. I completely agree. Not looking good at this point. Technovine also follows up Aditya's thing with Monster Hunter from Paul W. Anderson. Yeah, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed indeed. And the final question today, Kari Neves writes, sound is getting fuzzy. Feedback maybe. Oh, I'm not seeing anything in the monitor, but we'll double check that later. Thanks for bringing that up, Kari. All right, guys. That will do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget the John Campea Show will return again tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll be back up here and running. I hope you come back and join us again for that. That'll do it for us for now. My name's John Campea. Thanks for being here. And until next time, everybody, bye-bye.